wrong. Oh no, what are we to do? It's all gone terribly wrong. The rest is all up to you.
Do you have shot glasses?
I do. I have many shot glasses.
Yeah? No? Do you want your Coke?
She is disgust. This Scrapple,
You didn't have much
off
of a
the
reaction.
hoof,
You're kind
Scrapple
of-
flavored vodka.
Okay.
Like bacon flavored
It doesn't taste like
Alcohol?
bacon.
Not so much. I mean,
What is it?
It kind of just has like a, almost like peppery.
got a little spice to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Scrapple flavored vodka. Off the hoof. We off the hoof. In here.
Put it in a wheel.
Did you do it to it? Oh, you already started?
I think so.
You think so? Pull this over here. Oh, and the podcat left the room.
It's like I'm done with this. The things that I have to witness in this house.
They're just awful.
He's got a little attitude.
He's got a lot of attitude.
Even my brother's noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing some tricks around here.
What does that mean?
Pulling some pranks. Just being a little jerk. Like he'll cry to have the water turned on the faucet so he can drink out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's that spoiled. And then he'll jump up and he'll just sit there, and it's just running. And it's like, well, you're not even gonna drink it. Like, you asshole. You just making us do things.
Does that with food. Like, he'll whine until you, like, let him taste some, and then he'll just sit there and stare at it.
He
just wants to know that he's still in control.
Right. A so dumb.
Yeah.
But that's me calling my cats dumb. I'm a bad pet parent. Have we officially started this episode?
I guess so.
Okay.
Welcome to... Oh, wait. No, first... No, wait. Okay.
What's the truth?
Well, first we'll start with welcome to It's All Gone Terribly Wrong.
A podcast of absurdities, oddities, and obscenities.
Heyo!
Heyo!
Secondly, we announced it in the last episode, but again, hopefully y'all enjoyed our new intro.
It's all up to you. That's part of the song.
It's pretty incredible. So thank you again to Richard for making that for us.
Yes, it was.
It's fantastic, and I think other people said our first intro was too long, and y'all can suck it, but this one is pretty fucking fantastic.
No, again, we appreciate Jason Knox for his contribution, and we'll keep it around, and you'll hear it again. It's not gone forever, but yeah, we're gonna enjoy Richard's theme for a while, and especially going into our next season next year or later on this year.
Yes.
So yay, we're learning and growing.
Damn straight.
So I went first last week, I think. Do you want to? Oh wait.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're just jumping into it, aren't you? What are you hiding
Yes,
about?
but now I gotta wait for these motherfuckers to get back in here so I can share this with everyone. But
Y'all, we got Will Do and Troy Moon in the studio with us again today.
Again.
Well, they
Same.
were until they walked
out.
away.
Yeah. So
Biggest fan my ass.
right.
Jesus.
Where's Troy? Oh, dadgummit. Well,
Do you
he
wanna
already heard
give
it. It's fine.
us our
Oh yeah.
surprise?
So let's do that, and then we'll do my thing.
Okay. I got you guys a present,
Yes.
and it's not a camera, Rebecca.
Damn it.
I don't know why you think I would spend that much money.
I don't know how much cameras are.
So I got you guys a video that I want to show you.
Okay.
I don't know, did you want to come over to one side and...
Oh, yeah, sure. Shut up! It's Hal Sparks! This is the guy, remember I said he did a Cinemark video?
Yeah.
Okay, but...
Hey, Rebecca. Rebecca. Hey, Jordyn.
Yay!
Amazing.
Oh my
Is that to
God.
you guys?
Yes.
From who?
To Hal Sparks. Do you know him?
The who?
The
Oh
who?
yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah,
House
talk
Park.
soup and stuff like that.
How did
my
that
God.
happen?
Oh my God.
Yes, please tell us how this happened.
Yeah, well, that was better than a video camera.
Oh my God,
Find
yeah.
out about that.
So that's this.
So
Wait, you gotta talk into the mic. I'm sorry.
So yeah, the gift I got them was the video from Hal Sparks talking to them directly. There's a website called Cameo or Cameo Shoutouts. So Cameo,
Oh my
and
God.
you can get a shout out from a celebrity.
What?
Shut.
The ones,
that is so
the ones I've
cool.
seen are about the lowest is the $20 one, and the highest I want to say is Wesley Snipes for $500.
Oh my God. Patreon. Hello. Hello,
You guys could do
Patreon.
that.
I love that.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you, Hal.
So I won't say how much Hal cost, but
He weren't no
we got
$20.
Such a great did
Yeah, for
such a
4.5
great
minutes.
video.
Yeah.
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 And we can post this? It's ours to use?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
That is freaking awesome.
Yeah, but I expected. Hey
Right.
Jordyn, hey Rebecca, this is Hal Sparks from Talk Soup.
30 seconds to
Yeah,
a
your
minute.
brother Will wanted me to say hello to you, so what's up, blah, blah, blah. But he just went off.
Yeah, that was so
much
good.
advice.
I loved it. Oh my God. Oh, I had an audio recording, but I'll save it because it's definitely not as good.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yes.
Fuck yeah. Yes. Okay. Yes. Oh my God. I love it.
Thank you, Will.
Yes. Thank you so much. Oh my God. That's so fucking awesome.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
Good job, Hal.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
That was awesome. That was so fucking awesome. I can't even believe it.
I know.
Can't even believe it. Mind blown. Like, is this real? Is this real life? Is this gonna last forever? Yes, I can't even, like, I had a funny recording too, but I was like, psh, that's next week now. You just got bumped. How do you top that? That's the end of this
I know.
episode.
Yeah. Bye.
I feel so inadequate now.
That was
Well,
amazing.
okay, so I did go first last week. Do you want to go first this week?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to
Oakley dokley.
multitask and
We'll do
post a picture.
We'll do your bit at the end before we sign off.
I had a bit. Oh, yeah, we can do that. Okay, I'll wait on that. Oh, I need this. So Rebecca.
Oh, that's my bit, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Jordyn.
Oh my God, Rebecca.
I really need you to tell me a story because I have had such a crazy few weeks that I need to de-stress with some absurdities, oddities, and obscenities.
Fair enough.
Ew. That's what she said.
Sorry.
Just whenever you get
I lost my notes.
whenever you get around to it, it's fine. Computers are hard.
They are.
Tell me you got your fucking notes with you.
If I don't, I'm pretty sure I'm familiar with it enough to just go.
Hey guys, we're having a good old time doing the show, but we need your help getting out into the masses. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment wherever you like to find us, such as Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. You can find us under It's All Gone Terribly Wrong. On Facebook, you can find us at Gone Wrong Podcast. You can tweet at us at IAGTW Podcast. You can find us on our Libsyn page at It's All Gone Terribly Wrong.libsyn, LIBSYN.com. And you can also find our Patreon page at patreon.com/It's All Gone Terribly Wrong. Again, share, please, like, please, subscribe, please, comment, please. Gracias, mi amor.
What is wrong with me?
Okay, I will go first while you continue to look.
I'm so sorry. Wait, hold on.
Sweet.
Nope.
All right, I will go first while you continue to look for your notes. Okay. This is the story of Project Westford. So, cross my heart and hope to die. Stick 500 million needles, not in my eye, but into space.
Okay.
Yes. Could it be any weirder? So, in 1961 and 1963, director of MIT Lincoln Laboratory, Walter E. Morrow, on behalf of the United States military, tested an artificial ionosphere above the Earth. So this was called Project Westford. It's also known as Westford Needles and Project Needles. Was designed in a research station on Hanscom Air Force Base, northwest of Boston, as a kind of early kind of cybersecurity. It's basically having to do with communications, basically to fix a flaw that the U.S. military found in their communication system at the time. So this was at the height of the Cold War, when all international communications were either sent through undersea cables or bounced off the natural ionosphere. And there was concern that the Soviets might cut cables, leaving the inconsistent ionosphere as the only means of communicating with overseas forces. So the fidelity of there's going to be a lot of science in this. I apologize in advance. The fidelity of the ionosphere, or the layer of atmosphere that makes long-range radio broadcasts possible, is at best temperamental. So solar storms cause repeated disruptions. It's just a thing that you have to deal with. So the Air Force, along with the Department of Defense, placed a ring of 480 million copper dipole antennas. They were measuring 1.78 centimeters long, weighing only 40 micrograms. And they sent all 480 million copper dipoles into orbit as to act as the largest radio antenna in human history. They put needles in space to communicate radio signals stronger. So the length was chosen because it was half of the wavelength of an 8 gigahertz signal used in the study. I think it's gigahertz. I didn't look that up. Anyway, so the dipoles supported a parabolic dish. This was located in the town of Westford that communicates with remote sites. So that's where it gets its name, Westford. And that's in Massachusetts. The goal was to create a permanent radio reflector made of the orbiting ring of copper threads. And this would ensure America's long-range communications would be protected from solar disturbance and the Soviets. So Project Westford wasn't the first strange plan to be initiated as far as global radio reflectors. In 1945, sci-fi author Arthur C. Clarke talked about repurposing Germany's V-2 rockets to deploy antennas into the geostationary orbit around Earth. So it was one of the earlier ones. Today's communications satellites are in fixed points above the planet, and they are said to reside in Clarke orbit. So even though it's dumb as fuck, he still got something named after him because he's a celebrity.
It's better than a beetle.
It's better than a beetle. So the first launch attempt on October 21st, 1961 was a bust. The needles failed to disperse. So on May 9th of 1963, a successful launch resulted in radio transmissions carried by the man-made ring. So, and I'll talk more about that in a second. The entire package of needles weighed only 20 kilograms because they're super tiny, but, I don't know. I would think 480 million would be a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Any hoozle.
I'm trying to comprehend that.
Right. So over a period of 2 months, the hundreds of millions of copper needles gradually spread throughout the entire orbit. And the donut-shaped cloud was approximately 9.5 miles wide, 19 miles thick, and these needles were placed in medium Earth orbit, which is between 2,200 and 2,400 miles high. Many of the top scientists at the time opposed the idea, including British radio astronomers, optical astronomers, and the Royal Astronomical Society. Radio astronomers in particular were concerned about adverse effects that this cloud of metal would have on their ability to survey the stars. So also concerns about it becoming potential space junk, was a big deal. And the Space Science Board of the National Academy of Sciences had a series of classified discussions to talk about these concerns. But ultimately, President Kennedy presented a compromise in 1961 in which the White House would basically ensure that the needles would be placed in a low orbit, and also that the wires would likely re-enter the Earth's atmosphere within 2 years due to a process that I'll talk about again later, and that no further tests would be conducted until the results of the first were fully evaluated. And so that partially worked for the scientific community, but no one could guarantee what would happen if these 500 million copper wires were ejected into orbit. It was all theory and speculation. So it's like, oh, we promise all these things, but we can't really guarantee that this is the way it's going to go. So who knows? But, America being American, we did it anyway. So the Soviet newspaper Pravda, I'm probably not saying that, Pravda, yeah, ran the headline, USA Dirty Space. So it's kind of true. We put a lot of dirty socks up there. I don't know. Dirty.
Some people would be into that.
Yeah, and then we sold them to Japanese men, creepy old Japanese men.
Encourage them to help with space stuff.
It's to fund NASA. So the issue was raised in the United Nations, where the then U.S. ambassador to the UN, Adlai Stevenson, made a statement before the UN declaring that the U.S. would consult more closely with the international scientific community before they attempted another launch. And then, so some of the more prominent scientific members of the scientific community came forward, and they all, had their piece to say about it. And Cambridge astronomer Fred Howell, maybe, I don't know, accused the U.S. of undertaking a military project under a facade of respectability, and calling the Westford project an intellectual crime. So basically they were like, yeah, okay, you're using that as a guise to do other things, you're not consulting any of the scientific community, you're not listening to our concerns, you're just doing it anyway, so there's got to be alternative reasons, ulterior motives. Well, Stevenson was able to successfully explain that the sunlight pressure would cause the dipoles to only remain in orbit for a short period of time, approximately 2 to 3 years, and then they would supposedly fall back into, back onto Earth. So it would not be space junk; it would just be Earth junk.
Fell.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I don't know.
People get stabbed by stuff?
No, they're super tiny. So, or maybe they would burn up in the atmosphere. I don't know.
That would make sense. Yeah. It'd be cooler if they got stabbed.
Right. It's raining needles. That's some sort of biblical plague shit. Well, fun fact: the international protests ultimately resulted in the consultation provision included in the 1967 Outer Space Treaty. So that was the treaty that basically solidified the guidelines for, exploration of space and celestial bodies and stuff like that. How our laws will extend into our international laws will extend into intergalactic space. Which, whose authority is that on now? That's like Spain going to Antarctica and saying, oh, we're going to just implement our rule now.
Yeah.
No, nobody owns it. So, The westward launch was successfully dispersed along an orbit that crossed from north to south pole, and voice transmissions were then successfully relayed between California and Massachusetts. And then, so that just confirmed that the technical aspects of what they were trying to do were possible in principle. But obviously, there were still concerns about the military nature of this experiment, and they continued to get a lot of backlash. So on May 24th of that same year, the British radio astronomer Sir Bernard Lovell is quoted in the Harvard Crimson as saying, "The damage lies not with this experiment alone, but with the attitude of mind which makes it possible without international agreement and safeguards." So the bravado that the U.S. was expressing at the time, like, we can't, you can't touch us. Like,
Right.
You ain't shit. You can't touch us.
Sounds about right.
So, and at that time, the U.S. had a pretty bad reputation for recent military operations in space, especially following the 1962 high-altitude nuclear test called the Starfish Prime. Have you heard of it, Troy?
Starfish?
Yeah, it's called Starfish Prime is the name of the test.
Is that slang for butthole?
Maybe. Yeah, chocolate starfishes. I know for
Sorry,
sure.
gotta break it up a little bit. Carry on.
So, and this particular Starfish Prime project was, it basically dispersed radiation across the globe, and it spawned tropical auroras and delivered debilitating electromagnetic pulses to Hawaiian cities. So it totally it like filled the atmosphere with radiation, extra radiation that I'm sure we all need, and then totally like messed with the electronics in Hawaiian cities.
Damn.
Yeah. 50 years later in 2013, some of the dipoles that did not deploy correctly remain in the atmosphere in clumps, which make up a small amount of the orbital debris, which orbital debris is actually tracked by NASA in an orbital debris program office. And if I have more information about that, but for this, did you find your notes?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So for the sake of time, I'll skip through that. Just know that there is a NASA. What, you want me to?
No,
Oh.
I mean, we also have like that gap of stuff.
All right.
So by all means, if you have more information,
Okay.
go
I just
for
felt
it.
like there was a lot of science, so I was going to spare you.
That is good. Don't
All right.
spare us.
Science is good.
Yeah.
Science. All right. So, the NASA Orbital Debris Program office is located at the Johnson Space Center and is the lead NASA center for orbital debris research. And it's recognized worldwide for its leadership in addressing orbital debris issues. The NASA Orbital Program Debris Program Office has taken the international lead in conducting measurements of the environment and in developing the technical consensus for adopting mitigation measures to protect users of the orbital environment. So, like, I guess that they're deciding who has liability if someone gets rear-ended by space junk. Oh, God. All right. So the orbital debris research at NASA is divided into several broad research efforts involving modeling, measurements, protection, mitigation, and reentry of orbital debris. So back to the needles. The copper needles were embedded in a naphthalene, probably not saying that right, naphthalene, whatever.
Sounds good.
Gel designed to evaporate quickly once it reached the vacuum of space and dispersing the needles in a thin cloud. But this design also allowed metal on metal contact, which in a vacuum apparently can weld fragments into a larger clumps. So basically, instead of dispersing, add that to the list.
Dispersing.
So instead of dispersing, they just group together in large clusters and clumps. And thanks to this design flaw, it's possible that several hundred, perhaps thousands of clusters of needles still reside in orbit around Earth. And along with the spacecraft that carried them, they just left that bitch out there. They just left that bitch out there. As of 2019, 41 clusters of needles are still in orbit, their number having diminished as they occasionally re-enter. But apparently, it doesn't say anything about injuries. Yeah. And that is my story for this evening.
That's a good story. That's crazy.
It's weird for sure. It's odd.
It's very odd.
Little absurd.
A little bit.
Like, yeah. And everybody's like, it has no legitimate scientific reasoning. It's barely going to be better than what you have. And by the time that they successfully tested everything and started using it, it was antiquated. It was already antiquated at that point, and they had moved on to other systems of communication. So it's like, what really were you doing? It's almost like, let's take the least concerning mode of, I don't know, concealing this. Like, nobody's going to question, like, why are you doing so much research? But apparently they did,
Yeah.
Wait, you just want to shoot a bunch of needles into space? No, don't do that. That's weird.
Speaking of needles, apparently that's our connection today with stories.
Shut up. Really?
In a roundabout way, yeah.
Also, speaking of space, I have these photos. I just found them the other day.
I thought I saw those the other day too.
Maybe
Where
they've
are
been sitting here for a
Oh.
while, but they're from the EAAA group.
Oh.
There's a lot of great ones in here.
Well,
I
we
think
should
they might
post
even be
those.
from Dr. Wooten's wife, Mary. I don't know. Maybe he did them. I'm not sure.
That's random. Do you mind going downstairs and putting my Pokeball in the fridge?
Why did the name Mary remind you of a Pokeball?
I don't know what happened.
What is a Pokeball?
It's sitting on the table when you walk in. It's in a bag. It's raw salmon. It's like deconstructed sushi. Sorry, thank you. Can you bring me a beer too?
I'm gonna have a.
Yeah, no rush.
They are awesome. Don't know if I can post them though, because they're not mine.
They look neato.
Yeah. I'm so glad I found them.
Hello! We want to take a minute to remind everyone that we are always looking for musicians to feature in our episodes. Send us an MP3 of one of your tracks to itsallgoneterriblywrong@gmail.com, along with any upcoming shows and additional information you'd like us to promote. We will never give you up, let you down, or desert you.
Anyway, we got a whole. Okay, what are your needle stories? Is it voodoo? Oh, sorry. That's my roundabout way of saying tell me a story.
Just fucking hurry
What's
up.
your story? What is your story?
You gotta say it right, man.
All right. Hey Jordyn.
What?
Please
Hey, Rebecca.
What? Please tell me a story. I really need this story right now.
It would be my pleasure.
Okay.
Okay. So I started with mole people.
What?
Already got a winner.
Yes. Mole people.
Well, Mike actually mentioned it, and the initial thing was mole people. It started as weird books and shit, and then it progressed to actually what mole people are considered as people that live in the subways and underground in NYC and Las Vegas.
Troll people then.
No, they're not trolls. They're drug addicts.
Oh.
No. I mean, some of them are, but a
Okay.
lot of them are just homeless people, and that are down and out on their luck. There's actually a really good documentary called Dark Days about the people in the subways in NYC, but it's kind of him just focusing on different people.
Right.
So I didn't get into the NYC and the Las Vegas ones too much because the last one I found was super interesting. But the Vegas one we're going to touch on just super quick. It's estimated that 300 people are down there. And
That's crazy.
the ones that are built under Vegas were for their flood systems.
Oh.
So
So they're just taking up residence there?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
God.
sometimes on occasion it does flood.
Oh,
so they keep all their
no.
stuff, like their beds and everything, elevated just in case.
Right? Okay, that makes sense. But still, what if
It's
it
still pretty
rains
crazy.
really hard?
And it seemed like in New York City, it was like primarily like drug addicts, like meth and heroin. Whereas in Vegas, it seemed like there was a little more percentage of people that just lost their homes and were planning on just temporarily being down there and getting their
Right.
shit together.
Right.
And I think a lot of it was also people with gambling problems.
Right.
And even though they would like get back up on their luck and make money, they'd still
Gamble
back
it
and
all
lose
away.
Yeah. But the most interesting one that I found, which you might have heard of, it's the underground tunnels in Romania. You've probably briefly heard
Bucharest?
about it. Bucharest, yeah, my bad.
Okay.
No?
I mean, it's hard to say because there's tunnels everywhere.
Yeah,
In fact, there's a story on my thing that I wanted to do. It involves tunnels, but yeah, go ahead.
There's another one in China, but I didn't get to that one. It seems like something you might do. But yeah. Okay, we're focusing on this.
Bucharest.
So the tunnels were originally used as, they were supposed to be like a central heating ventilation system. So when you go down there, it's like super humid. Like
That's
to
crazy.
this day, the people
Yeah.
that live down there, it's super hot. So I wouldn't be able to survive because I'm hot all the time.
Right. You're like, fuck this shit.
Yes. So
Not even an ocean breeze.
no, man, there's nothing. Allegedly, it's invitation only by the self-proclaimed king of the underworld.
They're like gypsies.
Yeah, basically, that's one thing that they
Have in common.
likened them to.
Right.
Yeah. His name is Bruce Lee.
Shut up.
I
Bruce
couldn't
Lee
find
didn't
out
die.
what his real name was,
But he goes, oh my God.
he's a street fighter, or was a street fighter.
He
So
ain't
he's
dead.
got like all these scars and shit and crazy
Oh,
tattoos.
shit.
I should
So
have.
Bruce Lee's a nickname then.
Yeah, it's not
Because he fights a lot. All right.
Yeah.
It could be one of those Michael Bolton type of situations. Like, is your name really Michael Bolton or is that a nickname? Unfortunately, my parents named me Michael Bolton. They thought Michael was a beautiful first name. They had no clue about this man who also sings. It's an unfortunate accident. So I felt like it might be the same in this situation. My last name is Lee because we're Asian. My parents like the name Bruce. My dad's a big
Right.
Superman fan, so
No, it's just
it's an unfortunate accident.
he wanted to be Bruce Lee and he wanted to be the king of the underground.
Well, if he's a street fighter, that makes no sense. Why wouldn't he be like
Street fighter, as in like he fought people in the streets.
right?
Not
I'm trying to
like
think of desperately trying to
super
think
cool.
of a street fighter character name. Is that the no, that's
Chun
Mortal
Li.
Kombat.
Wait, where did that
Yeah,
come
that's
from? Chun Li.
You're right. Yep.
Okay. Well, here's
You're
a
right, you're
picture
right.
of him. He doesn't look like Chun Li.
Not at all. Oh my god, he looks like.
He's a little rough.
Oh my god. That's not a flattering picture of him.
There's really no flattering pictures of him.
I mean, this one's kind of good. I mean,
maybe. Yeah, keep going. If you see any, let me know.
yeesh.
It says there's an estimate. Don't think I mentioned this, but maybe I did. Of 6,000 people living down there. I don't know
Okay.
how accurate that is.
This is like the Kowloon walled city that I did in China.
Yeah. That is what it reminded me of. So I don't know how accurate that is though, because I was also looking up the one about New York, and they said the same thing. And there's no way there's 6,000 people in the New York
I
City
don't
one.
know.
Excuse me.
I
that was
don't
awful.
know, man.
Oh God, that smelled. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone in this room, including the podcat. Sorry, buddy.
He's trying to jump out a window right now. It's not open.
All right. So he was a street fighter. He's a drug dealer now. And the caretaker of all the abandoned orphans, and basically they were subjected to scenes of neglect and cruelty reminiscent of concentration camps during
no.
the 1989 communist regime. So basically when communism came to an end, Romania's government operated orphanages. They were closed, and they basically were just like, took these kids and put them all on the street. So they all ended up in these tunnels, and not only them, because obviously now they're like our ages, so their kids live down there too.
Yeah. Entire generations that grew up there.
Yeah, it's crazy. So oddly, social workers say that Bruce Lee kind of protects the kids in a weird way. Or, I mean, they're not really kids anymore.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, that's who played in Street Fighter. He should be Jean-Claude, not Bruce Lee. It's confusing. It's confusing. Anyway, sorry.
He, they say he keeps an eye on the younger kids to make sure they're not like sexually assaulted.
I'm sorry, that's even more Romanian than Lee. Van Damme. All right, whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like that's more
movies are so
Eastern
bad.
European than Lee. I don't know. I guess that's that gray area where it's like moving into. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Movies were
tangent.
awful. Did you watch those movies?
Probably only Street Fighter.
Oh, so bad.
That was him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you like his movies?
Time Cop was good.
Yeah.
Bloodsport.
I don't remember.
They're just so like bro, I guess.
Bro.
That's it. Bro movies.
Bro. If I'm a bro out, I'm just gonna be on some Chuck Norris.
Wait, you don't like Roadhouse?
What?
I like Roadhouse. Yeah, okay. Fair.
Only because
touche.
it played like every night at the trail for
You were,
like 3
forced
months.
to watch it.
Every time we went there, it was on. Like, what the hell? All right.
So it was specifically like one social worker, but there was like this small group of social workers that would help them. So anyways, they were like, he keeps the kids safe from getting sexually abused and provides a safe place for addicts.
Oh, well, I like him. I mean,
No.
not about the addict part, the kid thing.
But he basically cultivated that words.
Atmosphere,
Yeah.
neglect.
No.
Culture.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Will Do. This is what you're here for.
This is your job.
He cultivated the culture down there because he was the one that provided drugs for them. He is their primary drug dealer.
Gotcha.
So he keeps them safe and gives them a safe place to do the drugs, but he's the one giving them the drugs. So it's just like an
Yeah.
endless cycle.
I get it now.
I
get why it's
they
bad
still
now.
say that maybe they're better off doing that than what they were dealing with in the orphanages, because apparently they were just like terrible. Like all the stories are just like god awful.
Well, I mean,
I'm sure, but they were on the streets for a while, so maybe if they lived on the streets instead of gone in this tunnel,
yeah.
who's to say though? Who's to say?
You
No
know,
judgment.
there's a Pensacola connection to that. Just real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
That school for boys.
Oh my god!
Right, I forget the name of it, but there's like northeast of here, I think, is a little area where there was a school for boys for like 100 years or more, 150 years, and they had like it finally closed down, but there was like so many allegations of sexual assault and murder.
So much.
And they found bodies, and now they just found like 20
They
to 30
found
more
more, yeah.
bodies buried out on the site.
wish-
It was fucked up.
it was either like This American Life or it might have been Snap Judgment. It was one of those where they interviewed one of the guys.
Survivors?
Very, very detailed. Like
Oy.
it was awful.
Right. It was unimaginable what
Yeah.
went on there. 20 to 30 more bodies on top of the hundreds they'd already
And it's
found.
not like
I don't know if
they
it's hundreds,
weren't straight up murdering them, but it was because of how poorly they took care of them and how much they abused them because they were
Malnourished,
malnourished,
right.
and then they would beat the shit out of them, and then they would just like let them sleep in the cold or like all sorts of like terrible
Right.
stuff. But yeah, it was like I cried at the end of that because they actually had a reunion of like the boys that went to that
Oh,
school, and I was
crap.
just like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah.
But yeah, very sad. So I'm sure it was much like that. In this tunnel, they have all the amenities they need, which is also kind of like New York City and Las Vegas, because it's running through systems, and so they have hookups to electricity and to water.
They're just stealing
which is so yeah,
right?
like they interview people in Vegas, and they're like, yeah, it's free.
I
Like,
got a coffee maker over here. Here's my Keurig.
right.
Right over here, my electric blanket because of my cramps.
They like paint the walls in their section of the tunnels.
That's
and
crazy.
like do whatever. There was one guy that in New York, he was previously an addict and wasn't anymore, and on his wall he spray painted like no crack because people kept trying to ask him for crack, and he was like, I'm cleaning, bitch.
Can't you read?
Yeah.
Can't you read? No crack. Crack is whack.
Unfortunately, back to Romania. So they've got the amenities they need. They even have like microwaves and
We got a microwave today.
Yes, I heard. I'm proud of you.
I haven't had a microwave in over 10 years. I just want you to know that.
I know.
Yeah, it's
I
true.
told you she hadn't had one in a long time.
In like over 10 years.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
They had a Christmas
Maybe
tree
15.
too.
What?
Like a Christmas tree in the corner with like Christmas lights on it and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I guess.
Keep it festive.
Yeah. One of the... Actually, let's do this first. So to get a better depiction of the tunnels, there was one YouTube video I watched from channel4.com, and then the article that I read on it, they said, and quote, we're in the first chamber. They call it the office. You try not to gulp. Out of the corner of your eye, a woman with a syringe between her legs. A little boy stares
What?
at you with the Aralec bag at his mouth, which I'll go back to, pumping slowly like a black heart. Everyone here is HIV positive, and a quarter have tuberculosis. They're all on their way to the counter, and the counter is where Bruce Lee sells his drugs.
That's crazy.
Like, they walk in, and it's probably like, I don't know, like 8-10 feet wide, and there's like kind of like benches on either side, and it's just packed full of people though. So like as the news crew is walking through, there's people just like shooting up, and so everyone, like the news crew walking by, is like passing back to the other people like, be careful, there's syringes everywhere. It was intense.
That's crazy.
Yeah. One of the people in this group is a boy that like several documentaries have followed now. His name is Niku, probably Niku.
Sure.
He looks like he's about 12. Mind you, this was a few years ago. He still looks like the same though. But at the time he was about 17. His development was stunted by the drug abuse.
Right, that makes sense.
And he also has AIDS, not just HIV.
Oh,
AIDS.
no.
Yeah. And they actually came out with a new documentary last year, primarily focusing on him, but it's called Bruce Lee and the Outlaw, and they followed him for 6 years in these tunnels to like tell his story. It's fucking crazy.
6 years, wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah, I didn't read all of it, but you know, they said that the people, the directors and everyone like kind of got really attached to him. So at the end it was like they, you know, they want to take care of him.
Yeah.
And there's only so much they can do.
Right. That's a big controversy in journalism. There's that guy that took the picture of the bloated Ethiopian child or whatever, and and he felt, I think he committed suicide because he didn't help her. He watched her die.
I want to say Suicide Buddies actually covered that guy. Yeah.
So it's a thing.
Yeah. The most common drugs that are used are heroin, and then the other thing I mentioned was Arulak, which is, it's just like a silver metallic paint, and they spray like a shit ton of it. Like you can tell it's in the bag, and then they just hold the bag and huff it.
Huffing.
So you walk down there, and all of these people have like metallic paint on them.
Oh shit.
Just from huffing so
Right?
much. And then Bruce Lee actually spray painted his hair with it too.
Oh god. Sniff my hair for like a little pick me up.
Yeah. And Bruce Lee will surface occasionally, like when necessary, because he'll go see the primary social worker that like kind of helps them out, because they also get sick all the time. Like they get like hardcore like infections from the syringes and everything, and he'll go up there. And
Do you have any information on the healthcare system in Romania at this point?
I do not. Okay. I'll look it up though. Later. We'll touch base on it next time.
Will do.
But it's fucking crazy, because when the YouTube video I was watching, and I'll cite it, I thought I took a note of it, but I guess I didn't. He's got like kittens everywhere, like
Aww.
in the tunnels.
Aww.
People are just like hanging out with
kittens.
them. And then though, he has like a shit ton of dogs, and he goes up like to the streets, He literally had a pack of 15 dogs following him as he was walking down the
That's awesome.
street.
He's the pack leader.
Yeah. But you could tell he like had made like major anxiety walking up there because he was just holding one of those Arlic bags and just like huffing
Why would he
it the
have
whole time
anxiety?
as he's walking? Because he's used to just being in like his safe place.
Okay.
So that's why he only goes up to see the social worker and takes his 15 dogs with him.
So
Romania?
Romania offers benefits of a universal healthcare system.
Okay. So, but that depends on. So they pay for their health care, but to what degree? To what degree? So I have a friend at work. We have a friend at work who is trying to get pregnant, and she's consulted many fertility doctors here. And there's a procedure that she's at the point where a procedure needs to be done. And the procedure that she needs to have done is like $15,000 to $20,000 here. She's found a doctor in India who will do it for like $1,000. So it's like $3,000 for her to get over there, flight, the stay after she recovers and blah blah blah, and then the flight home. So $3,000, and she can have this. $3,000 for the flight, $1,000 to $2,000 for the procedure and whatever and aftercare. We're talking about $5,000 versus $20,000.
That's
you know,
insane.
like insane. And it's not. I mean, India has a great medical community. Like they have most of our doctors are trained over there.
Yeah.
So, but they come over here to make money.
Yeah.
You know,
Because they're only charging a couple $1,000s for that over there.
because it's covered by the government. I'm pretty sure the rest of it's not a money game. They're already getting paid. You know, there's no pharmaceutical incentive.
So Romanian healthcare system ranked weakest in Europe.
And then there's that weakest in the European Union.
In Europe.
In Europe.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, they made it sound like no one really gave a shit.
Right.
They had the social workers, which was nice, but that was about it.
Right. What's their main export or their main source of income?
Vampire tours.
Right. Dracula tours. And Transylvania, what is it? 5,000 or whatever. Can't remember what it's called. It's a movie.
Dracula Dead and Loving It. I used to be obsessed with that movie. Dracula Dead and Loving It. Who was
Leslie
that?
Nielsen?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
He's great in everything.
Yes.
As I've
Or like
mentioned
he started
before.
off as a serious actor.
Did he?
Really?
Did not know that.
All right.
That's it.
Oh my God.
There were rumors that the tunnels have been closed and everyone was forced to go to the streets, but I honestly couldn't find anything like actually confirming that.
Right.
So I don't know.
There was a raid and then everybody went back the next day.
Probably. But yeah, I want to watch that documentary, the Bruce Lee and the Outlaw.
We'll be sure to link it in our YouTube video
Indeed.
/ social medias / episode notes. Notes.
Best banter ever.
I know, right?
Oh,
We
yeah.
sound so interesting. You're not that interesting. I can't wait for that to happen to me again. Swear to God, that's
How
what that
about
man
you go
said.
into that? Why don't you banter that story?
What? Really?
Yeah.
We haven't talked about it?
I don't know.
So we were at the trail and we were sitting there talking to our good friend John from Movie Night Autopsy. Autopsy. And I think we had done a selfie earlier, like 30 minutes to an hour earlier. Mm-hmm. And then this man, like, who had been like kind of milling around the bar, I did notice him like kind of walking around and checking things out. He walks by and he like taps me on the shoulder and he's like, and he looks at me and then he says something and he walks away. What John and I heard was, "Oh, you're not that interesting." And I was like, that's what I heard at the moment. And I was like, what the fuck did he just say? Well, Jordyn says she heard him say, "Oh, you're not who I thought you were."
I swear.
So I'm telling this story to Troy, and he's like, have you not seen that video? And I was like, what video? And it's this YouTuber who's like at some bar, and she's talking on her cell phone, like streaming or whatever. And this guy yells from the bar, "You're not that interesting."
Walks up right to her.
But he was like sitting at the bar, and he like, it's
And then
like,
came
it's a
up
matter of
to
two
her.
steps of walking over to her to say, "You're not that interesting." And
That
I was like,
not this guy.
that's for sure what he said.
It was
then.
not. That guy
What's
was
the
wasted.
coincidence?
He was not trying
What's
to
the
be
coincidence?
clever or
What's
witty.
the coincidence?
Ah,
I don't know. Well, the story is unconfirmed, much like Sasquatch. You either believe or you don't.
I mean, 2 episodes ago, you were yawning because you were.
You're not that
boring yourself,
interesting.
So.
Oh yeah. Well, no, it was it was 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, and then prior to that, I wasn't that interesting. So.
At some point, we're not all that interesting. However, thanks to our new friend of the show, Hal Sparks, we've got the
Yes.
motivation to just keep on putting them on the board.
Yeah, we do.
We're just going to keep on keeping on. That's been my philosophy and my theory the whole time. I keep telling y'all that. Like, if we just keep doing it, we're going to learn, like you said, by accident.
Yeah.
You know, like we can only fuck up so long before we get it.
You don't fuck up, but like what he's saying is it's just become natural. It's just gonna,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
You
just
have
keep getting
fun
more of
with
a
it
flow.
naturally.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back and listen to
Oh,
you guys
they're
at the
painful.
beginning and now,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a world of difference, and just a year from now, it's gonna be the same
Even
thing.
better. Yeah.
At this point, we're going to say we apologize to anybody who's listening to our podcast backwards
Yeah.
from like the latest episodes.
Well, I don't know. I'd rather them listen backwards though,
Right.
than forwards.
But I'm apologizing for what you're about to find out.
But you already know it gets better, so it's okay.
Right. Right.
Whereas
right.
you start from the beginning and you're like,
I don't know if I want to keep going with this.
Does it get better?
Right. Fingers crossed. Good luck, girls. She was kind of a Blanche. No, but that's something that Will and I were talking about the other day. You know, where we are, where we wanted to be at the beginning, and you had even told me that Joe Rogan had that moment with some guest saying, "Oh God, if you listen to our earlier episodes, we were a mess." So, not that he's like my ultimate. I think he was just the first podcast that I really heard that like caught on. You know, like
Joe
in a
Rogan?
huge way.
Yeah.
And like that everybody was like, hey, do you listen to him? Do you listen to him? Like everybody, and like just random people. Our Aunt Sherry listens to him. So it's just surprising to me. But now I know that now I've been introduced to the world of podcasting, although, you know, I'll be a little late, but now it's a community. It's a niche. It's,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
for sure.
if you're a podcaster, you're a podcaster. You either like them or you don't. So
And y'all are both pretty smart for chicks.
for chicks, yeah.
Oh, thanks, man.
Our widow woman brains.
They're okay for millennials.
Right.
We're like
Well,
right
you
on
always
the
have great
cusp of
topics.
millennials, though.
I think
I don't know. I feel like sometimes mine could be a little more researched.
well, yeah, I mean, I feel like that too, is what I was gonna say. I feel like that too, but
yeah, Jordyn, get your shit
no,
together.
it's just there's that was another thing that Hal mentioned in his video. It's like, you know, like you gain that level of professionalism if that's like the only thing you're doing, like if that's your 100% effort.
Pours her,
We're
liquor.
celebrating. There's
Celebratory.
more in here than I thought there was.
But yeah, we got a
Sure you
long
don't
way to
want
go.
one, Troy?
We'll split it. I cannot drink that much. Ugh.
Not that bad.
That looks super painful. I'm gonna regret my
Sorry,
life
I
tomorrow.
didn't mean to like cut off your
No, my
inspirational
emotional moment.
Talk.
That's fine.
Yeah, my
It's-
bad.
It's fine.
It's
fine.
fine.
No, but thank you. First of all, thank you to anybody who's listening still. Thank you to my brother for moving all the way to Pensacola just for this
Just for it.
podcast,
Yep.
just to help us out. Thank you to Troy Moon for being our #1 fan and our very best guest.
Absolutely.
And always having amazing topics. I was gonna say before we do this,
Yes, ma'am.
At one point, you like you were on the show and you asked us why are we doing this, and we gave some answers, but I want to retract mine after doing it for this is our 25th episode.
23rd.
This will be our 25th episode.
Oh, can't count.
That's so funny. You're so dumb. Anyway, okay. So after 25 episodes, the reason I thought I wanted to do this is totally different from what I've learned so far. And the reason I continue to do this is because there's so many weird things in the world. It's no longer about like, oh, I have to justify the crazy, weird, evil stuff in my like. I'm moving on from that. It's just like I'm embracing the weird of this world. This is a very strange blue planet. I mean, yeah, there might be 400 billion Earth-like planets throughout the universe, but I mean, this one right here is weird AF, and we're having fun and exploring it, right?
Absolutely. And I think it's important for other people to know what's going on and what's going on too.
Right. Yeah, we can all commiserate in how weird everything is.
Yeah.
I mean, think about what people have learned in the last few weeks from you guys. We learned about space needles.
That's so weird.
I mean, we learned
wicked
about
weird.
the history of Delaware, basically. I mean, you guys...
You did Delaware a solid right there. Like, no one knew shit about Delaware, and now, like, Delaware's fucking hella cool.
And I really enjoyed the one with the animals in space. I thought that was really
That was so cool.
Right?
I'm so glad you did that.
You can entertain and you can educate. And that's
Right.
what you guys are both doing, I think.
And we frequently have a Pensacola tie to it too, so I enjoy that. So like Pensacola, the Gulf Coast, we on the map. You know, it's no longer just East Coast, West Coast, or even the Northwest. You had your time, Portland, but now we've got it.
Gulf Coast, Redneck Riviera.
Boom, 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 boom. I don't know.
Boom, boom.
That was a bad choice.
That was good.
I regret everything. All right. Yes. Any final thoughts, words, closing remarks? All right. Well, does we have a band for this episode, or because we have the new theme?
We got that going.
We could pick one of John's songs.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, John. Let's see where we's at. Beep beep beep.
We need hold music.
All right, Jordyn, who we got for the music for this week?
We got lovely Mr. Jonathan Sidwell from Movie Night Autopsies band, Man-Made Machines.
Not Manwich Machine.
Not Manwich Machines. With the song The Tundra.
The Tundra.
You're
Yay. Yay. I don't know.
gonna record this? Let's record this. Look at this. Wildew came up and brought me a soda and
Bearing
brought us all Reese chocolate eggs because it's almost
Because
that.
that's what Easter's about.
Or I guess by the time this comes out, it'll be post-zombie Jesus. And we're about
Are you
to...
supposed to eat candy before Jesus comes back?
Yes.
I thought it was
No.
Sunday.
You're supposed to... Huh?
You have to wait till Sunday.
You lure him in with chocolate.
Oh, is that how it worked?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what got him out of the cave?
Don't frighten him.
Like
He's
after
scared.
he became alive, they were like, "We got chocolate for you.
Come on.
here."
Come on.
Did they do something like that
do
in the movie E.T.?
Yeah.
Reese's Pieces.
I haven't seen it, but I know there are
We're reading.
skits.
So E.T. like the pieces. Jesus likes the cups or the eggs.
I bet he's more of a peep guy.
I have a
I bet
story
you
about
didn't.
Peeps.
What's that?
I have a story about Peeps. Am I close enough to the microphone?
Mm-hmm.
This is important. It's not. I got drunk one night and went and bought some Peeps, and
no.
I got these sour watermelon ones. They were green on the outside and then like pink on the inside.
Oh man.
And me and Mike got drunk and started throwing them at each other. And then we forgot about it, so we woke up the next morning and they're just fucking... They didn't even look like Peeps anymore. It was just all over the floor. Everything was sticky.
No.
Wyro had like a bunch. Keelan's dog had a bunch on his belly. And at first we couldn't remember what happened. Like, Keelan didn't know either. We were like, why is the floor sticky? What is this shit on Wyro? And then we saw like the little pink pieces. Never again. No more Peeps.
I love
Well-
peeps.
It was better than I thought that story was gonna go.
What did you think was going to happen?
You ate a bunch and then like threw up neon colors.
Poop neon colors.
I mean, I would
Right.
be okay with pooping.
I
neon
believe they call
colors.
that a Cosby sweater.
What? What?
My brother's face. He literally just did a, I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say?
Oh, God. Here, let's take these real quick.
All right.
Do you and Troy want to split one, Rebecca?
Oh, yes, please. Because we're the wieners of the group, so we got to split our alcohol. It's a vodka.
He already tasted it.
Did you?
Yeah.
It's the beef flavored vodka.
One?
Tell the listeners what we're doing.
Okay, so we're doing scrapple flavored vodka shots, which we talked about 2 episodes ago.
We shared one.
Oh God.
It's good with orange juice as a chaser.
I probably did one.
We don't have orange juice.
You have orange juice
Here, I'll get a
downstairs.
picture of this while you're doing it.
So we're trying these this week since I had previously talked about it.
I'm so not looking forward to
I
this.
promise it's not that
I have
bad.
like one little backwash warm.
Do you want
spittle?
Coke?
Spittle.
You can have this before I do if you want it as a chaser. I can use
Alrighty.
pops.
All right.
Are you good? Do you need a chaser?
Um,
Will do.
I'm a man.
Oh. Are you? Oh,
I'm not,
my bad. Okay.
but I'm about to put hair on my chest.
Yes.
Pitter patter, folks.
Get at her.
I don't want to taste it.
You're supposed to taste it.
Tastes like vodka. Oh shit.
Did you? It's got like a hint of, yeah, but not overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't order it.
I literally only taste.
But I would drink fruit.
I think it would free it. It would be good with Bloody Marys. And I mixed it with orange juice, which I talked about last time, and it just tasted like breakfast in a breakfast in a cup. Breakfast.
No, that's a Letterkenny thing. Valentine's breakfast. Valentine's Day.
Guys, we never signed off either.
No.
It's a Steve Earle song.
So thank you so much
We're gonna cut
for
that part out and put it into something else.
joining us today on It's All Gone Terribly Wrong podcast. I almost got titty worms. That's fun. We're gonna come up with some new ones too.
Come up with some more for sure.
So are we sorry anymore about what we do?
I mean, I like being sorry, but not genuinely sorry.
Right.
But we can be sorry.
We're sorry?
We're sorry.
We're not sorry. Go fuck yourself. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. We love you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Dad, fuck you.
Makes us human beings, keeps us on the moon, but it don't explain everything. I can hear it, the voice slowly seeping through. What could I do? What could it want? I can hear it, so many all around here just like me, shivering, lost in the tundra. And we can't pretend we don't notice anymore. I gotta know right now, why are they watching me? I hear we all relate, I've been losing sleep. I know it hurts to say, cause this ain't going away. We gotta face the truth that we cannot escape. We gotta level out and gotta split the scene. We getting obsolete, we breathing gasoline. But we too stoned to fight, at least we can still get high. I used to like life before it got snowed in. So, we're not exactly all the same. The more everything changed, the more none of it changed at all. And it's true, was similar enough to feel empathy or anything real, anything absolute. And you know, everything is gonna have to evolve, not necessarily resolve. It don't make no sense at all. And we can't pretend we don't notice anymore. I gotta know right now, why are they watching me? I hear we all relate, I've been losing sleep. I know it hurts to say, cause this ain't going away. We gotta face the truth that we cannot escape. Gotta level out, gotta split the scene. We getting obsolete, we breathing gasoline. But we're too stoned to fight, at least we can still get high. I used to like life before it got snowed in.
Yeah, I don't know.